Beneath the surface soil, a being caressed an egg that was the size of her palms. She held it with utmost care, and then kissed it before gently laying it down together with its fellow unhatched eggs. From the ceiling, hanging like a dripping stone, and from the ground, piled like a bonfire of shells, these eggs were everywhere the eye could lay upon. There were thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands. All of these were the future of her kingdom. And as she was cradling her unborn children within her hard carapace arms, she paused when the hall door behind her produced a knock. She turned her head around to the door and thought to herself, "This is rare." Before a voice from the other side declared, "My queen, please punish me for my insolence of disturbing you, but I came to bring important news." "Please permit me to enter," the voice said urgently. Though it wasn't very clear coming from the other side, she could feel something wasn't right with the way the voice spoke. And the message itself that is brought is alarming. What could possibly be so urgent as to interrupt the queen's time to cater to her baby's needs? Nothing good, she thought, but speculation could only lead her to so much, and the possibilities that she could think of all of them aren't good. The queen calmed herself and replied to the person on the other side of the door. "Enter," she said with utmost sophistication deserving of a queen like herself. "Thank you, my queen," the other side said in relief from her reply. Then from behind the door, a short moment after being permitted, a brief clanging sound rumbled before it eventually opened, and from it walked a dark violet being that resembled its mother. It looked like an oversized bipedal ant, possessing a pair of arms, legs, and antennas. Though it looked like its mother compared to her, it was clearly discernible from a distance. First of all, it was only about half her size and lacked the grace and details of the queen, like a cheap knockoff. And the most noticeable aspect of the difference being that it lacked wings compared to its mother. The queen saw one of her children come into the nest, which is the most guarded and secured part of their kingdom. Her child quickly went on one knee and didn't dare to look into its mother's abyss-like compound eyes, as it stated its message. The Termians have begun to amass an army north, a days away from the hive. It is reported to have organized an army of 7 divisions disorderly marching towards the hive, and about 3 or more divisions of Termians are reportedly coming in from the northeast, most likely reinforcement from their alliance. The estimated time before reaching the hive is 14 hours at best and 10 at worst. "What should we do, my queen?" Her child kneeled, and though it didn't show it, it was clear that her child was anxious as it reported terrible news to her. The situation was truly dire, and it was enough for her to grind her teeth and clench her fist in anger as the hive, her kingdom, is being invaded by the savage collection of Termians tribes. This invasion scale wouldn't be so terrible, though, and her situation so dire, if her kingdom was currently in full strength. But she had just recently sent out 2 out of 3 of her generals, along with 12 divisions of troops, to invade a nearby budding Myrmidian hive like hers. And that was about 1/3 of her current strength. Only about 7 divisions of troops, and 1 general remained in the kingdom. She wanted to vent out her anger on something, but she knew better to waste time on futile outbursts, and instead she breathed out her stress and replied to her child who was still kneeling in silence. "Find and bring me the remaining general. I'll be at the throne hall," she emotionlessly voiced her command while she was thinking to herself. "It isn't the time to get swallowed in anger. I need to handle this situation fast and carefully, or else I'll risk losing everything." Her child then immediately stood up in a snap and replied to its mother, "As you will, my queen," then stood in silence to request permission to leave. She already knew what her child was waiting for and only nodded, and her child bowed its head as its antenna curled, as it then went on its way to accomplish its new task.